clear-cut ways of how you do it. And once you get the pool of resumes, you are expected, in good faith, to review every resume. How do you go about that? I mean, do I have to call, the 50 people that submitted resumes, Anindita? Absolutely not. You pull out in our firm, we provide what is called the applicant review sheet or the interview sheet. I'm sure most law firms do the same. Essentially, there will be details of the ad that has been advertised, the language, I should say, and against that, you will pull up the resume. You will go through everything that this candidate has produced in his resume or her resume, wherein which you will check the education. So if you're requiring a bachelor's in computer science, engineering, math, technology, and the person has a bachelor's in geography, guess what? You don't have to call the person, clearly. Alternatively, if the person has 25 years of experience in the IT field, I don't think if there was an audit, the DOL will just say, oh, okay, you could have put that resume aside. You at least call the person, you find out, and you judge each resume per the situation at hand. Similarly, if the person might have the bachelor's degree but has a 1 year of experience, you're off the hook. You need 5 if that's what your ad required, or a master's plus 1 or 2. You're fine, not having to call, fill out the applicant review sheet, and then pretty much, put it back along with the resume in your compliance file, and you're good. If there are any too close to call scenarios, which is exactly what I was talking about in CEO Ally, you are required by law to contact the applicant. You will call the applicant, you will try to reach out to him or her. Basic thing is by the phone. If the person's unavailable, you leave a message. You follow up with an email, okay? You make a read receipt. In the good old days, we were required to file certified mail so that it would return receipt. So there would be proof that the employer attempted to contact this applicant. Now, with technology, you can do that through an email. But you can't just try once and say, oh, the guy never called me back, that's the end of it, let's move on. No, especially if the resume is too close to call. So be very careful of what efforts you engage in to conduct that interview. It doesn't have to be in person. It can be on the phone, but will have to be a live interview. That's at least our recommendation. Waldorf School of Orange County, November 2015, Volcker panel reversed the denial of a labor cert, stating that employers' job search radio ad and web ad on the internal website met regulatory requirements when employer provided audio recordings of the radio ad, but not a text copy, which is understandable. If it is a radio ad and they're providing the actual sound bite, that nothing more better than that as proof. Matter of La Hacienda, meat market. Here, Volcker determined that the employer verification of sponsorship was sufficient in the certifying application that was mailed in, even though the certifying officer could not contact employer. Now, I would like to turn the discussion over to Samir. He's been kind enough to produce the next few slides of how important Perm is from the perspective of an employer.
Thank you, Anindita. Yeah, so more from a employer perspective, what we are seeing, what we are still debating, that Perm is one of the important recruitment tool for us, right? That it can attract the highly skilled professional. And of course, benefit can differentiate between companies to companies, right? So, and again, it's a very a good retention tool, especially for our highly skilled workers. It can be reward to them. And generally, as we know in the corporate world, we do not generally process green card for our people, right? So majority of them, we are very selective in nature we would like to process Perms, right? And I think it's one of the loyalty reward that what we can see as well. Incentive for an employee to remain in the company for a longer term. And historically, what I have seen in my experience, people do stick to a company for a very long time. They generally don't switch on companies when their green card is actually been processed and approved, right? Company can also look at, if they leave in certain time frame, they can put some agreement to recoup the kind of expenses or the investment company has done in the complete Perm process. I haven't come across in my experience that someone, employer has recouped some payment because the employer was, loyal enough to stick to a company for a very long time, right? On H1B, there are some limited status. It's H1B, as we know, it's valid for 6 years. Some Some extensions are applicable, if green card application has been filed 365 days in advance. And of course, additional extension for beyond 6 years if you have an approved I-140. Going to a next slide. Okay. I don't know. Where should
Yeah,
I?
you're good. You're good. Samir.
Oh,
No.
okay. Okay, yeah. So, some timing issues that we need to actually see, as Anindita said, the first step is the perm, prevailing wage determination. Right now, it's 109 days. Decisions that what we are having on labor certifications right now is going in July 2016. Without audit, and audit is 2016, right? So it takes long time, as Anindita has kind of told us during her presentation, right? There are certain modernization proposal has been put forward for perm application. I think the first important thing is the advertisement that needs to be done, right? As we know, in real world, though in perm application it said that you need to publish as job order what we said, right, and in the local newspaper. But in reality, it happens or not, we do not know at this time, right? So, but yes, it's one of the important thing to take away this aspect from overall perm application. It's been proposed, but it's too early to say anything right now. Of course, it allows employer to correct the errors, because right now it's all manual. When they go online and put the application, there are certain errors. So modernization has also proposed to eliminate that. Allowing certain foreign nationals to qualify for the offered position. That is very, very important. As Anindita has pointed out, it's very important the person is really qualified for the position, as well as to become a US citizen, right? So that's the whole intention of this program is. Premium processing. Right now in perm application, there is no premium processing as what we have in other, H-1B, what we see. But that has been proposed. So another proposal. Importantly, the shortage of skills needs to be updated in the perm process and the database, right? Which technically it's not there. So that has been also proposed, that all shortage of skills will go online, so it's there for everyone, right? And very importantly, as we have seen that the change of guard has happened, so it's too early to say anything right now on this modernization proposal that has been put forward, right? So we should not kind of hold our breath until the full administration take place in sometime in January next year. Certain matrix in terms of the prevailing wage determination from 2011 to 2014. It's been increased from 2011, what we are seeing, till 2012 it goes down, and 2014 is also it goes down in terms of determinations, right? The kind of the labor certification has been put in place. The top 10 occupations, right? IT professionals and the engineering professionals would be on the top 10. So that is always favorite, and perm application generally have been famous for our IT workers, right? Countries of origin. So I think very importantly, India is on the top. That who is using perm application worldwide, right? Followed by China, Canada, South Korea, and Philippines. And in terms of occupation, again, it's IT, engineering, and software area. And this is possibly the last slide. This is again of DOL labor certification data. What we are seeing here in 2016 and till Q4, and year by year, that's what we have seen from the previous year. In 2015, there is a rise of 11.3% of the application. That's a huge number, and that means that this application, perm application, is continue to be used by employers across the world, right? And for 2016, the applications that were certified, if you see, 58% is computer and mathematical, followed by engineering, management, and business operations, right? So computer applications and engineering are one of the favorites, and I think they will continue to dominate that, right? And these data are as on June 2016. It's been changing, right? It's been without audited. So again, with a disclaimer, it's without an audited and rounded numbers, right? So I think this is all. Thank you very much, and we can open up for questions now.
I can address this question. Can a 3-year degree and a 2-year master's and 5 years or more experience qualify for an EB2? The short answer is no. And I don't want to just leave it at that because obviously everybody wants to know. Let me begin by telling you what I mentioned both yesterday and today. There is no combination. They're very, very, very strict. I know your employees read blogs, maybe you read blogs, and everybody is an expert, you know, have more experience than 3 of us combined on the panel. However, the rule is very clear. For an EB2, be very careful. You cannot conduct what is considered to be a combination of education and experience. In this scenario, you are risking, the fact of the matter is, as long as the employee, because you will always get pushed by the employee. So the person can turn around and say, oh, you know what, can you put me in EB2 because I have a master's? Before you reach the master's stage, the USCIS will first analyze, does the person have a bachelor's? Because when the credential evaluation that I told you, do not proceed with any case without a credential evaluation at the get-go. So you do the draft ad, before you even proceed to prevailing wage, get a credential evaluation. The US, very simply, the reason it's a very simple no, what is a master's? 4 plus 2. Pretty much, you're looking at a 5. And there is no combination of education and experience. So the answer is no. Any other questions? Or are people asleep? Or they're yeah, exactly. Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you, Samir. Thank you, Kiran. Thanks a lot for your patience. Thank you.
Thank you, panel.